I've got like four new followers that all had like the yes as the icon. Like really enjoyed the talk about Chris Squire, prog rock rules, rock on, dude, and like
I got a few of those too.
No, that's for sure. We really appreciate it. Whatever it takes to get you to watch us, we'll do.
Whatever makes us more likable in your eyes.
Right, yeah, we'll take whatever makes us look better to you, we'll do. And if it it means
but I draw the line at the disco buzzcast. I'm not doing that crap.
Talking about vintage arcade games, I can do that all day.
Arcade I can do, but disco no.
I got my Q*bert t-shirt on, you see.
Yeah, I don't know if you should have shown that, but okay.
Yeah. Podcaster's gone wild week here at the.
We officially stand alone, folks.
We're the only podcast available to hockey fans right now. That's it.
Everybody else is on hiatus, huh?
That's right. That's right, and I think that's ridiculous. So
hey, we'll take the audience. Come hither.
Precisely. Join us because we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun all summer, and we still got lots to talk about. So hey.
Yeah, there's rookie camp tomorrow. There's lots of stuff.
Are you going to rookie camp tomorrow?
I will.
I think I am too.
I will be there.
I'm not sure if I'm going to go to tomorrow or another day, but I think tomorrow is going to be the day for me.
I'll be there a few times.
I'm trying to think of the best day. The first day is sometimes pretty good, but not always the best for me to go. So.
Yeah, it depends what you're looking for. I mean, for me, first day can be really good because, A, a lot of people won't be there, and B, I can watch them do some of their testing too.
Right.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey.
Hey, Gav.
How are you?
Good. I had a nice time hanging out with your friends. We are live, but just so you know, but I had a nice time hanging out with your buddies.
Yeah, did they come over for the Star Wars?
Yeah, they came over for Star Wars on the beach. It was awesome.
How did you have?
Oh, awesome times. I mean, we had a lot of people watching it. I mean, we did it up for the 4th of July, as is per usual. And that's our theory, which we've told you before, about if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing.
Did you feed everybody in New Jersey, or did you?
Yeah, pretty much. I think it was $600 food bill or something like that. It was pretty good.
Wow.
It was the kind of thing my wife said, so how much did you spend on food? I'm like, she's like, $1,000? I'm like, oh, no, only $600. She's like, $600?
Wow. So
yeah, but it was worth it.
Like, that was cheap. But
I know. That's what I was saying. When you started with 1,000, you really set me up there.
Yep.
I haven't spent that on groceries in the last 6 months.
It wasn't on me. It wasn't on me because that was my in-laws were there. We split the bill with a lot of people. So, but it was a lot of food. And
how many people were there?
We had about 20. And yeah, my buddy with his Connor McDavid shirt on. The coolest thing was the guys on the beach. I don't know if you saw the video I put up on my website, but that was really cool. I can show you this for a second. This was awesome. It was just these guys I met on the beach, really nice guys. Their names are Harrison, Harrison, Vince, and Hamilton. So they are playing this game, which I'll show you here.
Harrison Ford?
Hold on, let me put it up here so you can see it. Here it is. They invented this game, and the concept of it is it's on the beach, but they're firing pucks into these little nets from these little it's basically horseshoes with hockey.
Who's going to be able to do that?
It's really good.
No, it's a good game, but the average person can't do that.
Right, you gotta be able to execute a strong saucer pass to pull this off. But
yeah, I can't think of the game that is similar to that with a frisbee. But that's just basically that. It's a
there's that frisbee game. There are people there, the trash can on each side. I've seen that.
Yeah, that's basically.
These guys are pretty good. I mean, that one right off the crossbar, right? Now these guys are good, and I mean they were big Hockey Buzz fans too, so it's kind of cool. And they happened to be literally next to us. I mean, if you took turn to the right, you would have seen my whole setup, which I should have filmed because it was really pretty intense. Because we had volleyball.
Eliminate 80% of Americans, though. They will.
I know. No, it's definitely not an American sport, but it's still fun. And yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. They were really cool, and they were played it all day. And even after a few libations, they were still at it. Still managing to build.
Were they worse or better at it once they'd had a few libations?
I think they were the same. I think that we showed that hockey and libations might not be a problem.
It's like bowling and darts. You get better as you get drunker. I
think so. I mean, they were really good, and they were just great guys. So I had a big tent, which I set up. In the morning, I went out there at 8 o'clock to claim plot of land, and I set up a gazebo. Which, if you ever tried to set up one of those, gazebos that's 12 feet by 12 feet, by yourself, on a windy beach, it's it's not easy.
Yeah, unless everything's popping up automatically and I just have to stake it, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, this does that, but even then, on a windy beach, you're in trouble. So I broke one of them off, but I had tape, so I broke one of the legs, just broke off completely, but I taped it up. It was brand new. And then we set up our whole thing. We had horseshoes, and Captain EO there was busy grilling up food, and we volleyball going on. And then when it got to nightfall, we put on the projector and broadcast Star Wars, which was amazing. So
did you do the grilling, or
I did? I let Eric do the grilling for the most part. He's the
grill master.
He's way better than me. Basically, I started, and I was about to feed people food that Eric thought would kill them. So he said, "Let me." He grills three or four times a week, so I'm not,
Okay.
My idea of grilling is Texas Roadhouse. So, but we had fun. We did. It was always good. And that beach is, like I said, it's crowded and full of beautiful women. So if you ever get a chance to come down, that's a fun place to visit.
Thanks. I'll be there next week.
Yes, come on down, Mike. Rookie camp, schmookie camp. All right, so let's get going. Ready? It's the 6th of July. Now, I'm going to be really frustrated if I don't do one thing. So I'm going to let you guys talk for a second. I have a Coke bottle, in the classic Coke bottle, and I haven't opened it, and you can't open this with your hands. So I'm running into that room real fast. I'll be right back. Mike, entertain people with a song, or else I won't, because I need my caffeine. Right there.
With a song? Okay, I'll do Heart of a Sunrise.
Oh no. Do a hockey song at least. Come on, man.
I sorry, I don't. He didn't prepare me. It's like, what am I supposed to do here?
You are a lousy host. You will never fill in for Jimmy Kimmel or anybody like that.
Tell the Lanny McDonald hockey joke. Oh no, wait a minute. We can't tell that joke.
Wait a second. All right, we're back.
Okay, let's get this started so I don't have to sing.
This is my last day in this office, by the way. I'm moving downstairs. I just didn't have time, so I'm sorry I'm up here today.
I think
Hello, Hockey World. What was that?
You did that last time.
I know, I did. This is pure exhaustion. The 4th of July beat the hell out of me, so I'm really, yesterday I just couldn't even get. I felt like I was run over by a truck. I must have taken 650 trips back and forth from our place is literally on the beach, but back and forth from our setup to our place. And they passed this one woman who's like God bless her, she's like probably a 16-year-old girl who's working the beach tag patrol, and she asked for beach tags. She must have seen me go by 50 times. And then yesterday, I go out there in the morning just to tell the kids we're getting taken off. And she's like, "Excuse me, sir, do you have your beach?" I'm like, literally, seriously, yesterday, I went by you 50 times. All right. But my wife has a theory that you can intimidate them. She's like, "They're just little girls. You can intimidate them." So I saw her do it. It was pretty scary. All right, here we go. Hello, Hockey World. It's Monday, July 6th, 2015.
I'm Michael Agello.
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology.
Kevin Allen of USA Today Sports.
And I'm Eklund, and you're watching the HockeyBuzzcast on HockeyBuzz.com. This is the podcast that comes to you Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock all year long when those other podcasts have stopped. We are still here for you. That's right. Those other podcasters are out enjoying time on the beach with their families right now. And
yeah, they all suck. Well, actually, I have a podcast that I put into.
Yeah, you have a podcast. That's good. I know. But not us. We're not enjoying anything. We're here podcasting. And that's the way it should be. Thanks, Mike. All right, so today we do have some signings to talk about, some rumors to talk about. We're going to get into some winners and losers of this here draft/trade draft what have you. But we have to first start today with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Because, Mike, tell the young folks, who the Maple Leafs have signed today.
Well, the Toronto signed center Sean Matthias away from the Vancouver Canucks.
Away from somebody? Somebody else wanted Sean Matthias?
Well,
Russ.
Come on. This
is a good signing. All right, you got to give the Leafs credit for this one.
Good signing. It's a one-year deal for $2.3 million, and this just follows along the lines of the signings they made last week. Every contract that they've signed has been a 1 or 2 year deal, has been under $2.5 million, which just goes along with the theory that I've held for a long time that they're going to repeat the Winnick-Santorelli moves of last year, get a lot of short-term deals, and at the deadline probably move these players out for draft picks. So this is give them a chance to play, keep your kids in the minors, and have these players play more minutes than they normally would, inflate their offensive totals, and then move them at the deadline. Another good move by Brendan Shanahan and the Maple Leafs.
The rest of the league would like to thank you for being their farm team, essentially.
The way you describe them, they're a clearinghouse.
Yeah, right. Just above Marshall's, not quite at TJ Maxx level. Right in there somewhere.
Yeah. Finger Hunt.
Yeah. Right, Finger Hunt. That's like, or Big Bob. What's the Big Lots? That's the new. That's
Big Lots.
Big Lots. Kevin, what are your thoughts on the signing?
Oh, I liked it. You have to put a team on the ice, and he's a competent player. Had a good season last year. In the middle of the year, he was playing really, really well, and he's a good complementary player. Price is right. Length of contract is right. To me, what it opens the door to a nice discussion we need to have on, who's the worst team in the league now, because it's obviously not the Sabres or the Oilers are not in contention.
Yeah.
And so, is it Carolina? Is it Arizona? Is it Toronto? We've had this last summer. We, talked about that. It's almost time to do it now.
I think that's a great idea for today, actually. I think that's the perfect topic. If only we discussed these things ahead of time. But that is the perfect thing to do. I like it. I agree, because last year was Buffalo, right? Everybody said it was Buffalo. It was Buffalo's to lose, right? That was basically.
Yeah, but we threw some other teams out there.
Yeah.
Last time, there's some people that thought Winnipeg could be in there. With their goaltending the way it was, and it turned out that their goaltending turned out to be fine. There were people talking about the Ottawa Senators last season.
Very much so. That's right. That's a good point.
Yeah. So there's always some team that you're not counting on, but I think it's interesting. I was looking at it this morning, and like the Maple Leafs really haven't bottomed out, and Babcock's worth 10 points.
Right. I think so too.
At least.
They're not nearly as bad as a couple of the other teams in my mind.
Well, let's just say this: the moves aren't done yet.
Well, no, that's true, but
they can get worse.
Matthias for the Leafs is going to be actually a pretty good scorer.
He's going to be a 20-goal scorer for the Leafs.
Yeah, it won't get worse.
Yeah, and the problem you're having is for all the viewers, go through and look at where everybody's cap situation is now, and then figure out where you're going to send Dion Phaneuf and some of these players. The cap situation right now for teams is really, really difficult. Just in the first round, there are not a lot of teams that have much room. So the Maple Leafs could very well start with Dion Phaneuf on the team, and it may be more difficult for them to move those veterans than they thought it was going to be.
Well, I think that they're going to keep Phaneuf at least in the short term. Babcock and the organization has hinted towards that. The move that is affected by the Matthias addition is Tyler Bozak. They re-signed Nazem Kadri on the weekend for 1 year, $4.1 million.
Another trade deadline type deal.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but he's got 2 years left as a restricted free agent, so I think this is more of a proving ground situation here. They want to see what they have in Kadri. They want to see if he straightens up after the problems that they had with him last year off the ice. So they're telling him, okay, here's the 1 year deal. If you stand on your head and you play well, we'll give you that big long-term deal. If you don't, then get ready to get shipped out somewhere. But I think what their plan is to make Kadri their number one center, to move Tyler Bozak out. And if you look at it, they would have Kadri as their number one, Peter Holland as their number two, who played pretty well last year in a limited role, Matthias as their number three, and then probably either Nick Spaulding or a minor leaguer and Sam Carrick as their number four. If they keep Bozak, everybody gets pushed down, and I think they want to give Kadri that number one ice time to see what he is, because they never really have done that. Personally, I don't think he's capable of being a number one NHL center, but they want to find out, and they want to find that out under Babcock. But this team is going to get worse. I think they move Bozak out, and it's presumably for a draft pick or a prospect. you're talking about Nazem Kadri as your number one center, and
salary.
To be honest with you, I don't think Kadri as number one is worse than Bozak as a number one. He's not a number one center, as we all know.
Yeah, number two.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
What's his salary, Mike? What is Bozak making?
4.2 for 3 more years.
That'll be real easy to move him. 4.2.
Yeah, for what? 30 points?
No. I think he scored
He'll get 45 points, but for 4.2, Mike. It's going to be with arbitration going on now. You got teams like the Rangers. They don't even know if they can afford Derek Stepan. There's a lot of teams hurting right now. I don't know if you're going to be able to move them.
He's not. I mean, he's not going to go to a team like Chicago or Boston. They clearly don't have the room.
I think he's like an Arizona or Carolina type player, right? That's what we're thinking of. But are those teams going to want to get any better? That's the question. Are they?
No. Players. Yeah.
I think it's going to be. I think they will eventually move him, but I don't think it's going to be easy. That's a lot of salary. Yeah.
I think we were already saying, they would have moved him by now. I think if it was easy, because there are some teams looking for centers. It's not like there aren't teams looking for centers.
Well, I don't particularly think that they would have signed Matthias if they thought it was going to be a problem to trade him, because now they're overstocked up the middle. With the signing of Matthias, I mean, if they trade Bozak, everything falls into place. But if they keep him, you're a little bit clogged up the middle.
I think Bozak is desirable. I think teams want him. I'm just saying it'll be hard, like not impossible. Just it's challenging to move that kind of money in this environment.
I think they'll have to take a contract back, Kevin, and I think they're willing to do that. I mean, they don't have any cap problems now that they traded Kessel, so they have some flexibility, and they can, like if it was a trade with Carolina, they would probably, could take back John Michael Wiles or something of that nature, take back a contract that expires in a year, or some team that needs needs strength up the middle. Bozak to me, is an average number 2 and a really good number 3. And I think there is a market out there for him.
I'm sure Lyles would be eager to come back, considering how he was traded before the Winter Classic last time.
Yeah. Right. I think so. I've got the depth charts of the teams up in honor of what Kevin's idea is, and I really like this. So let's start here. This is kind of a way of doing winners and losers in a more interesting way, because the teams that have lost here have definitely lost. And then we talked a little bit about Toronto's depth chart, but let's go to Arizona. Okay, so at center right now, according to Roto World's depth charts, and I usually like their depth charts; are pretty good. You can correct me if I'm wrong, for sure, but I think these are pretty good. So you've got Martin Hanzal is your first line is basically Hanzal, Michael Boddicker, right? And Boddicker and Shane Doan, and that's your number 1 line. Then your number 2 center is Chip Shura, and then no.
The number 2 center is
Antoine Vermette. Sorry,
right.
Sorry, I missed that one. I just skipped that over. So I've got Vermette, Erat, and
Erat's a free agent.
Erat's a free agent, right? So he's not even there. So I'm just going off this here. Ty McGinn is not there anymore either, right?
Yeah. Right now, you better off looking at our Cap Central act. Right now,
look at Cap Central.
With Arizona, Hanzal
be in the mix there as well.
Yeah.
Though Maloney is not going to keep Strom. He's already said that. So.
Right.
Right. So there you. So Strom's going back. But Domi is going to play.
Right now, their top 3 centers are Hanzal, Vermette, and probably Boyd Gordon, who they got from Edmonton. You have Domi, you have Doan, you have possibly Duclair, if they want to bring him up. Although he may be ready. They added Brad Richardson and Steve Downey. I mean, there's Bodker is in the mix. I mean, there's not a lot there, but
defensively they're not terrible. I mean, defensively, they've got some players. I mean, obviously Ekman Larsson's a star, right? And he's a star on any team.
But they really don't have anything much on defense.
After that, you get Mikhailuk and Grossman, and so.
I think I agree with that. Their defense is not bad. I mean, those are credible players.
Yeah.
And Murphy is a year older and wiser, and Gormley will move into the breach as well. So it really is going to come down to what kind of year that Michael Smith has. And the three teams I look at, you're looking at Carolina, Toronto, and Arizona because they were in the mix last year. And Toronto obviously has not gotten better; it's gotten worse because they've lost Kessel. Carolina, Justin Falk is going to be even better than he was last season. I thought he was pretty good. The big thing for them will be Eric Stahl. If they're going to keep Eric Stahl, then they could be not. I wouldn't say they're a contending team, but they could be fine. But if he's going to be moved at any point, that's going to be, they could end up being worse than Toronto. I just don't. I don't like Arizona very much at all. I just don't know how they're ever going to score a goal. Now, we might be able to say the same thing about Toronto, but I think their scoring is going to be down for sure.
Those are three of the four teams that I had on my list, Kevin. The other one that I have, and maybe things can change, is New Jersey.
Yeah.
Because they're up front, they're old. They really didn't do anything major in free agency. They're not going to, Pavel Zacha is not going to make the team as an 18-year-old. Their defense is young, but it has some upward possibilities. Guys like Severson, but it's not deep. And I mean, the only thing that I think prevents them from being a 30th place team is that Corey Schneider is a really good goaltender and can win games.
That's what I was going to say. Of those four teams, Schneider is the best goalie, or at least he's performing at that level. He played really well last season, as we all know. Smith's coming off and off here. The Maple Leafs goaltending has been a disappointment. Yeah. And I just don't. I liked Kudobin, and they traded him out of Carolina.
Yeah, I know.
There's got to be I don't know, is there a surprise team out there? Anybody got an idea of who's the,
New Jersey's a good one. I mean, I wouldn't call them a surprise though, right? Because I think they're right in the same boat. I mean, with Carolina, it's Cam Ward and Eddie Lack. I mean, that's Eddie Lack's not terrible, so that's. I mean, the difference between these teams and Buffalo last year is these teams are going to have to trade away their goalies to suck as much as Buffalo did last year. I mean, these teams, all four of them, have half-decent goalies.
No, that's right. They got guys that if they could play well.
Yeah. But somebody has to be in last. That's the good news.
Right.
Somebody will be there. Somebody will still be in second to last. They just may have more points than what Buffalo did, and maybe teams at the top will have less points, but they're still going to be in those spots. I think New Jersey is still in that bottom four, though. I definitely think they could be bottom three, definitely.
If I was to go for surprises, possibly, looking at this list, surprise possible teams, I'd have to say there's a chance that Florida could fall backwards a little bit. I mean, it's not likely. I like where they're going, but I don't think that they're a shoo-in. They're not a definite playoff team.
I'll give you one in the West. Vancouver Canucks.
Vancouver, yeah, I was thinking Vancouver too. And that's possible because they just were such a good year last year. I mean, I think Arizona is the worst team in hockey, though. When I look at this, because I just also basing on the fact that it's basically the same team as last year, right? And if not, it's worse than last year, right? And last year's team was pretty bad. Last year's team battled pretty hard with Buffalo all year.
No, I don't think they're even close to being as bad as they were last year. I mean, Vermette is a quality player.
He was with them most of last year.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, okay, right, granted, but
and he probably, he's going to be with them. I mean, he's signed a couple-year deal, so he's going to be with them all this year, probably. Maybe not.
Go ahead, Russ.
No, he's part of the culture. He went from losing to winning, and he'll go back to losing. I do think Arizona's the worst because I think ultimately they have the worst goaltending.
Well, it was the most disappointing last year. A guy who made the Canadian Olympic team and then didn't look like he could stop baseball.
I guess it really will come down to which Michael Smith we get. Like, he was a good goaltender the year before. And, I've heard, now this is really, we're getting down to the minutia now, but, there's been a lot of talk about because of all the 3-on-3 overtime games that, Michael Smith is an advantage because he'll be able to move that puck up to their,
because he can stick
it. Yeah, he's an extra defenseman.
Is that a few extra wins for a team that's trying to compete with the bottom 3 or 4. I don't, again, I think that's kind of stretching it, but you're kind
I
of.
also think you have to look at the divisions these teams are playing in. I mean, that matters too, because they're playing teams a lot. And the Metro Division, 2 of these teams are in the Metro Division. So that's when you're looking at New Jersey and Carolina. But then the rest of the Metro Division is arguably one of the best divisions in hockey. So.
Well, okay, in the Atlantic Division right now, other than Toronto, I think the only team that has gotten worse since the end of the season is the Boston Bruins. I think Buffalo has gotten better. I think Florida, just because their young players are going to be add another year of experience, they're going to be better. I think Ottawa will be just around the same. I mean, I think that Boston has taken a step backward, but not to the point that they're going to be battling for a top 5 draft pick.
Well, if Tuukka Rask got hurt, they would be.
Mm-hmm.
Now they don't have a safety net in net. I think, like, if I had an inkling that Tuukka Rask had an injury, then I would say they're definitely in this bottom 5. Like, it's not even a question to me, but Rask will keep them out of it. He will.
I don't know. That's hard to push them. When you got Krejci and Bergeron as your top 2 centers.
They get hurt a lot, Kev. They do.
I know. I don't disagree with you on that. They do, but,
But this is the worst division in hockey.
So.
Yeah.
I think it's the worst. I mean, it is the worst. I mean, is there any? I mean, you might debate it. I don't think this is. I mean, like you say, Buffalo's gotten better, but they still. I mean, they were the worst team in the NHL last year. Boston has gotten worse. The Montreal Canadiens had an unbelievable year by Carey Price. If they don't have an unbelievable year by Carey Price again, they're not a playoff team necessarily. They could be in this division. Yeah, they could be in this division because 3 teams have to make it from this division. But Tampa's obviously great and probably maybe the best team in the East. But beyond Tampa, you've got a ton of question marks. Just all over. Ottawa was really good last year, and really incredible on that incredible streak at the end of the year, but also didn't. There's holes. The Ottawa Senators aren't as good as they were at the end of the year last year, and they're not as bad as they were at the beginning of the year last year. So they're somewhere in the middle.
Well,
don't we have questions in the other division as well? I mean,
yeah. I mean, of the 4 teams that we're talking about right now that are the ones we're sort of agreeing on as the worst 4, 2 of those 4 are in the Metro, Carolina and New Jersey. So to me, I mean, the top 5 in that division, the Rangers, Capitals, Islanders, Pittsburgh, Columbus, I think all either got better or stayed around the same. Philadelphia, I think, is about the same, and New Jersey and Carolina, I think, are bringing up the bottom.
Yeah. I still think Babcock is going to do something that you're going to hate, Mike, and get you in like that 3rd spot, not in the worst spot. I think Arizona is going to be in the worst spot, and I'm not ready to pull Buffalo fully out yet either. I mean, they're adding Jack Eichel, but it doesn't mean that they've got all these other pieces either. They still have a lot of ifs.
No, but I mean, you're talking about now you're adding not only Eichel, but O'Reilly and Kane and a full year of Bogosian and Sam Reinhart. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to be a playoff contender. I'm just saying they're not going to be as bad, as hideous as they were last year. There is optimism in Buffalo.
I've had some discussions with some folks in the hockey world about, and this is more for Russ because I've never seen the kid, but they've suggested that Sam Reinhart's development the curve has not been as steep as you would like to see. That it's not a slam dunk that he's anywhere close to being ready.
I would agree with that because while he is a really smart kid, he's not the biggest kid, and he is not a prolific scorer. He's a guy that sort of has to be in the right places at the right time. And so I'm not ready to put Reinhart 100% in there yet either based on that. But, still Carolina is probably worse than Buffalo. But I agree with you about Reinhart, Kev. I think that's true.
Reinhart played very well at the World Juniors last year, and that's not to say he's going to be a success at the NHL level. But he's a situation where he's 19 years old, his birthday is in November. What I think is going to happen, because I don't think he can really learn anything from another full year in the WHL. I think the Sabres are going to keep him on their roster until November and then send him to the American Hockey League and let him get some experience. So I think that's what the plan may be.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible. I mean, it's really interesting because I really do believe that the Metro is way stronger than the Atlantic. Just from the not to belabor the point, but I want to get into this debate for a second because it seems like we are on different sides of this. I guess one of the questions you have to ask yourself is how do you determine how a division is better, right? Like, I guess the one way to determine is to say, okay, who's going to make the playoffs? And you've got 3 teams in one division, 3 teams in the other division. Are 4 teams from each division going to make the playoffs? And if that's the case, then these divisions are pretty even. But if 5 teams from one division are going to make the playoffs, and I think you're looking at 5 from the Metro and 3 from the Atlantic. I don't see any way around that.
Not necessarily, because if the Atlantic division is weaker, they play against the teams inside the division more. There's a greater opportunity.
Yeah, but you also have Carolina and New Jersey in there too, so you've got those points as well. So you can make the argument the opposite direction on that side because you've got Carolina and New Jersey. Yeah, you're playing against each other, but Philadelphia is definitely going to be better. I don't know that they're a playoff team yet, but they're definitely going to be better. They have a new coach. They have they've got some good young players coming up.
Are you playing them a lot in the early part of the season, or are you playing them a lot at the end of the season? Because some of these teams at the end of the season are going to be pretty dreadful.
Toronto will get dramatically worse after Valentine's Day because they have so many one-year contracts and UFAs, and there's not going to be anything stopping them from moving these guys.
Right,
so,
no, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think, the only teams, like I feel still good about the Rangers, bullish on them. But Pittsburgh, I like the move they made with Phil Kessel, but I don't know where they're at.
How bullish would you be, though, if Stepan was getting like $6.75 million in the arbitration cap because they only have $12 million under the cap?
Yeah, no, that's true. But I think they're going to be fine. I think they'll sort through all.
Probably get through this one. They will.
Yeah. I like the Rangers, but I don't know where the Flyers are at. I don't know where the Penguins are at. I like the Blue Jackets, but I don't know whether Saad is enough. I love that move. I think that gives Johansson a perfect complement, and I think that Saad is the type of player that you add to your team when you really feel like you got a chance to be successful. He's the kind of all-around player that you need. He's got a little bit of grit, a little bit of scoring touch. He'll play with some fire, and he can win. So.
Yeah. And it allows the Hartnells and the Folignos to play second line.
Right. But we don't know where Columbus is defensively.
Sure. No, defensively they have issues.
Yeah. So I guess my point is how is that different than in the Atlantic where I think we all have reservations about Boston, but they still have Krejci and Bergeron. They still have Tuukka Rask. Detroit I think will be better than they were last season, and I thought they were pretty good. They took Tampa Bay to 7 games.
Yeah.
Last season, and Montreal, they were the most consistent team. Now, granted, you made the very valid point, Eck. It was a lot about price, but it wasn't goaltending alone. They did find ways to win the games and such. So I don't know. I think it's very similar. Is my point. I don't see too much between the two.
Yeah. But you look at the West deck, and right now, Arizona is clearly the worst team in the West.
Yeah.
And then the next one is probably Edmonton, and I think Edmonton's going to be significantly better. Then you got teams like Colorado, which have a lot of talent. Now you don't know how Colorado is going to react now that they don't have O'Reilly anymore, and they had a young defenseman in Zadorov, but Grigorenko's not going to. He might go to the KHL still, so they maybe take a little bit of a step back, but maybe Nathan McKinnon bounces back in his 3rd year. And what happens with San Jose? Do they continue to wallow, or do they make a sort of a comeback now with Martin Jones in goal and adding Paul Martin? I think there's more of the worst teams in the East than there are in the West. There's
that's for sure. I do agree with that. I definitely agree with that. But I kind of look at it like you look at Boston and Pittsburgh in very similar situations, right? But so they're 2 teams. They've 2 teams that have paralleled each other a lot over the years here. That they've both been very good teams. They're both question marks right now. But Boston got rid of Lucic, and Hamilton, and Pittsburgh picked up Kessel. So I'm going to give Pittsburgh the advantage there. I think Pittsburgh is heading in a better direction than Boston, right? So That's Pittsburgh over Boston. Top team, we'll say Tampa, and you want to say the Rangers? I mean, I don't know.
I don't.
Rangers.
No, I don't think it'll be the Rangers this year. Tampa's fine.
Well, let's say Washington. All right, because maybe Washington's the best team in the division. I mean, they were only one game away from beating the Rangers last year. They've added players. They added Justin Williams and T.J. Oshie. They've gotten better apparently, pretty much.
Good bet for that.
They lost Mike Green. So Washington and Tampa, I think we can definitely give the edge to Tampa as the better team there. But I think that Washington's going to be a tough team to play. I think they're going to be a really good team this year, and they're and this is their second year now with Barry Trotz. So I don't think that's a blowout. I'm going to say a slight advantage to Tampa, but because they deserve that, right? Second best team is Columbus, let's say. All right, let's just say for sake Columbus, maybe. I mean, that's like
you can't put the Columbus ahead of the Rangers.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, the Rangers, right? Let's go with the Rangers, right? So then go with the Rangers and Montreal. I'm going to say Montreal is the second best team in. You got to give Montreal the benefit of the doubt there, the second best team in that division.
Is it, or is it the Red Wings?
Maybe it's the Red Wings. Yeah.
It could be the Red Wings. I mean, the Red Wings have looked like they've gotten better. I think they've gotten better.
And you can't underestimate the fact that a lot of these players are getting out from under Mike Babcock and will be under Jeff Blashill, and some of these players maybe got tired of the sort of the Babcock approach,
right,
and refreshed under Blashill, and maybe that's breathes some air into the Red Wings. I mean, the one thing is I'm still a little questioning about their goaltending. If Mrazek ends up being their number one, I think they have a chance of being a better team. I've never been a big Jimmy Howard fan, and he had gave them reason to question him last year. So
let's say so we'll take a vote here. I'm put Montreal at second, but maybe you three are putting Detroit at second. So let's go with Detroit at second. What do you think?
I think
it's a tough call because Montreal has better goaltending.
I'd go Montreal.
Yeah, so would I. Their defense is better. They got Subban.
I'm going to go Detroit there. I think Montreal will still be a factor, but I think Detroit could overtake them with their moves. I think
Montreal, but it's really close. But all right, so let's just go Montreal, and we're saying the Rangers are second in the other.
Yeah.
And so we have Montreal versus the Rangers. We all like Montreal better, probably, right?
No,
or I don't know. I mean, it's Price versus Lundqvist if they play each other.
I still like the Rangers. I like the Rangers and Russ.
I probably would still lean towards the Rangers. Yeah.
Mike, what do you think? Montreal or the Rangers?
Rangers.
Rangers. All right, so the Rangers win that one. So that's one for the Metro. All right, so then third, we have a battle now between I'm going to say we have Detroit and we have Detroit in the Atlantic. That's easy.
Pittsburgh,
the Islanders, Columbus. Those are the three teams that are in there, right? So
I'd probably lean toward the Islanders, but
the Islanders, yeah. I mean, they've been and they. I mean,
Tavares is fully
older.
Yeah.
I
think I would lean towards Columbus in this one, just because I really like the Brendan Saad trade, and I liked where they were, and if they're healthy last year, and they were so good at the end of the year last year.
Yeah,
I just don't think their defense measures up to the Islanders.
Yeah.
I like the Islanders better. I like their defense better.
All right, so let's go the Islanders then. You guys got the Islanders, Mike. So Islanders and the Red Wings, giving that advantage to. I'm going to give it to the Red Wings.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to the Red Wings.
As well.
Okay, so that's two for the Atlantic, one for the Metro. All right, so now we have safe to say Columbus or I don't know if Columbus is the one or not. We still have Pittsburgh, so we have Columbus and Pittsburgh, and the other division we have
Ottawa,
right?
Or not Boston.
Or Boston, right? Or Boston, right?
Boston, I didn't like either of their moves, but they still have some talent there.
They still have Char, they still have Marchand, they still have Bergevin, they still have Rask, they still have.
They're not a charity case. Yeah.
Marchand's annoyed by the moves. I think a lot of the players are annoyed by the moves. I think it's going to affect them. I'm going to go with Ottawa.
Yeah, the defense is a little old now. Hamilton's no longer on the scene, and like Ty said on Friday, if Adam McQuaid is in your is on your second pairing, you're in trouble. So I would go probably, but Ottawa, Leonard's gone. Legwan's gone. I mean, I don't know if these are.
They're not really factors, right? I mean, but. Right. I'm kind of with Kevin. I'm kind of with Boston over Ottawa. I think Ottawa's streak at the end of the year last year was very, very good. But you also got to see a little bit of Ottawa in the playoffs against Montreal that they aren't that good yet.
So Boston versus Pittsburgh or Boston versus Columbus?
Well, I guess you guys are all saying. Are you saying? I'm saying Columbus. Who are you saying?
I'd say Pittsburgh. I'd say Pittsburgh.
I'm going to go Columbus.
That's really tough. I'm going with Pittsburgh.
Okay. So Mike, you're the tiebreaker.
Pittsburgh. I'd say Pittsburgh.
You're going with Pittsburgh. All right, so we got a dead even tie. All right, so we don't know what to do there, but in the case of this, we'll go with Kevin because Kevin's the senior executive here. So Kevin, you have Pittsburgh. So we've got Pittsburgh then in the one division, and the other division we have we have Boston because we had to go tie in that division too, right? So we get Kevin. So Pittsburgh or Boston? We already said that we like Pittsburgh better, right?
Yep.
2-2. All right. So next up, Columbus, and I guess it's got to be Columbus and Ottawa, right? Because we just ousted them. Columbus and Ottawa. So that's 3-2. 3-2 Metro. Next up, we would have
Florida versus Philadelphia.
Florida versus Philly. Or I guess it would be Philly, right? Yeah, that'd be right.
Florida.
I'm going Florida too. They're coming up. They got Luongo.
You guys are nuts. I totally don't. I don't agree with this one.
That's much better than Philadelphia.
For purpose of the tiebreaker, I'll go.
No, and I know I'm going to be a homer here, but I really think that, and I know I'm going to use it being a homer. But last year, remember, I wasn't with the Flyers. I honestly think that this. I do think that this is the Flyers are better than the Panthers.
For purpose of the tiebreaker, I'll go with Florida. So you're left on your own with
3-3. All right, well. All right, then we get the Buffalo, I guess.
Versus New Jersey.
Buffalo gets the lead there, right?
Sabres.
Right, and then we get the Hurricanes versus the Maple Leafs.
Carolina. The Leafs are the worst.
I don't know. No, I'm going to go Toronto. Better coach.
Yeah, I think Toronto's better than Carolina.
I'm going with them too.
Yeah, I'll go Carolina.
All right, so out of the 8 positions, we came up with 4 that were better in the Metro and 4 that were better in the Atlantic. There you go.
I think what we've shown here because of all the closeness of the races too. It's just what we said at the start. I don't think there's much difference between the two. I don't think one is significantly better than the other. One could turn out to be better than the other because that's the way these kind of things work. But it's not cut and dried. I don't think you can look at them and go, "Wow, the Metro is that much better." I think there's many teams can win get to the final from the Metro as from the Atlantic.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, and looking at it this way, you can see that like you said, Kevin. There's a lot of. I mean, there's as many teams with question marks, and it really comes down to what you think, which way you think the question marks are going to go. The
idea of the cap is to have a lot of teams with question marks, so you can't have a dynasty. That's the reason for having a cap, right? And
right.
So, I mean, injuries, young players doing well, players with off years. That's all stuff that it's hard to predict.
I had an interesting conversation with Jim Nill right before the draft, and he and I were talking about the fact that the Oilers will be improved and Buffalo will be improved. And, as he said, if we're going to say that the Oilers, and he wasn't saying this, he was just using this as a for instance, are going to be 20 points better, then those 20 points have to come from somewhere.
Right.
And so what his thought is that, it might take actually fewer points in the West to make the playoffs now because the points are going to, with the Oilers getting better, the points are getting spread around a little bit. And, the Blackhawks, again, this is me, not him, the Blackhawks could be a few points, have fewer points than they had last season,
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see. It could, we may not see, I think, was it Mike, did you say that, or active about the point, they may not be statistically as bad as the Sabres, but like the last place team may be 12 points better than Buffalo was, or 8.
Right. Right. There's somebody has to be last, and that's
I can see that. Look, I mean, I could easily lop 10 points off the Rangers what they did from last year. I mean, that's easy.
Yeah.
Going to somebody.
Yeah, but there was such a wide gulf last year. I mean, between Buffalo, Toronto, Edmonton, and Arizona from the rest of the league. There was like maybe one or two others that were, it was like in the mid 70s to like 90. I mean, you had every team in the Central Division with 90 points or more. I don't think that the split is going to be as great this year because I don't think you're going to have teams tanking as obviously as they did for McDavid or Eichel. I think it's you're going to have teams like Buffalo who are going to get better. You're going to have teams like maybe Arizona and Carolina who aren't going to go all out to dump talent at the deadline because there's just Austin Matthews there and there's not two guys, and plus the lottery changed. It's now 4. It's not 2. If you finish 30th overall, you could finish with the 4th pick instead of the 2nd pick. So it's going to be different. So it's not going to have teams going all out to get that 30th place spot.
Yeah, there'll be.
Okay, finish, Cap. Go ahead.
I'm just going to say 2 things. There'll be no tanking this year for sure. And secondly, let's not forget that the promise that the Coyotes ownership made to the fan base saying we are not rebuilding, we are rebooting, and that they pledged that they would compete for a playoff spot this season. So that
they might compete till mid-February.
Well, that's the point I was going to make is because this always comes up with Mike. Like Toronto can do whatever they want. It doesn't matter with their fan base. They don't have to consider whatsoever what their fans think.
Sure.
The New York Rangers are in the same boat. The Coyotes, Carolina Hurricanes, to a lesser extent the Columbus Blue Jackets, they all have to concern themselves with what the fans think. And so for that reason, the Coyotes got to do everything in their power coming out of the gate to try to be better. They got to try to make moves. If they get off to a slow start, they got to do something to win over the fans.
So you don't think the prospect of them getting Austin Matthews, the kid from Scottsdale, is off? No, it's just completely off the radar.
No, they know about it, but there's not much they can do. You just said it yourself. Yeah, I mean the odds are too great against them getting him.
Yeah, even if they're the worst team in the league. So.
Yeah. And that doesn't even guarantee it. So yeah. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, last year we saw. I think look where Connor McDavid is right now. I mean, the Oilers didn't try to tank last year. I mean, they really didn't. They were legitimately bad.
They were. So, in an unrelated matter, I don't think you should ever drive a Zamboni naked. I'm just saying.
You see this?
Is that what you do?
I don't think you should do it. It's just a bad idea.
Did you know what we're talking about, Kevin?
No.
Oh God. All right, hold on.
Is this the ESPN body picture? Is this the ESPN body episode or body? Yeah.
Tyler Seguin. Right. Let me see if I can get this right. Hold on. Tyler Seguin for in ESPN's body issue.
Yeah.
Decides to suddenly.
which I have an issue with. The ESPN body issue, but okay.
Yeah, and I've turned down this issue many times, so. That's all I can say. I mean, I know that everybody wants to see Eklund naked, but this is not. So let me see if I can. It's this is really disturbing. I don't know if I can show this or not.
That would be disturbing, but okay.
I don't know if I can really show this or not. Anyway, look it up for yourself, for your children, because I know we have a lot of kids who watch this. But Tyler, I can show you this. This is terrible, but I'll show it.
They don't show any. They don't show any.
No, they don't show any.
Of course not, but still, it's still it's still disturbing. Let me see if I can. Oh my God!
This disturbing.
This whole concept is really messed up. It looks like it does not want to be shown. Hold on. This is here. Okay, this is a video of this whole thing.
We don't want to see a video.
Yeah. All right, but this is the idea here. Is I might have to stop this at any moment. It's actually an ad. So,
yeah, here's a naked Dodge Charger.
Yeah, the one on the right is Tyler Seguin. No, we're about 5 seconds away from this being over. Yeah, so this
Dan Boyle? Was that Dan Boyle?
Yeah, that's Dan Boyle. Very good. All right, so here's ESPN, and
that's Mark Recchi.
Other people have done this before.
Joffrey Lupul was one that.
Lord.
Yes.
All right, so this is
Okay.
I like how the person is shooting with a mask on. I don't understand this.
Let's just say, as a photographer, I would hate.
Hold on. Whoa. Stop. I thought there was nothing like that.
Put up his Instagram picture. Here, I'll do it.
Oh, God. That's horrible. There's more of it. Oh, my God.
Singing Blue Moon.
All right. First off.
There you go. There's his Instagram picture.
There's the Instagram picture. Okay, Russ, thanks. This is just... Hold on. Put it up again, Russ. Sorry. I make it so everybody can see it. Put it up again. There it is. Yes.
That's it.
He's not the first star to drive the Zamboni naked. I'm sure. But, yeah, this is
Is that good for hockey?
And the Bruins fans who now feel that they lost the Phil Kessel trade, I'd like to point to Exhibit A. No, anyway. I mean, who came to him and like, this is a great idea. You know what we're going to do? I know exactly what we're going to do, Tyler. This is going to fix your reputation perfectly. This is going to correct everything. You're going to get naked on ESPN and just shoot pucks around and drive Zambonis around. See, I don't know. At the end of the day, can we all just admit that men are ridiculous looking naked?
Yeah.
And women are beautiful naked. And this is I'm not saying that I'm not the only one who says this. I know women who admit the same thing.
What I'm asking is it's good for hockey.
Yes, but see, if it was Phil Kessel,
hockey.
Is it good for hockey?
If it was Phil,
it is good for hockey because I would say this: every year they pick the top athletes out, and if hockey's not in there, like Kelly Kulik is the best female bowler in the world, and she's done it. Diana Taurasi is the best.
Okay.
She's done it for the WNBA. So if you're not in there, you're not a sport.
Okay.
Yeah. And if it was Phil Kessel who was taking part in the body issue,
Stop. Yeah. So we're saying that Tyler Seguin is taking one for the sport here, basically, and we're saying that he's doing this.
Yeah, and to Mike's point, they had Prince Fielder on the cover last year, so that's
But he's not the greatest puck in the land, which we talked about last week. Is Victor Hedman in Sweden?
Yeah, I like that, by the way.
Yeah, that was a great award. That's all the time we have for today's HockeyBuzzcast. We'll be back again tomorrow.
Cover one subject and plus a naked Tyler Seguin, and that was it.
That's it, And I'm telling you that you can't get this anywhere else. Remember, all their podcasts have stopped because they claim there's no news, and there's always news. Remember, without the buzz, it's just hockey. Talk to you soon.